Gensel over right there. He's got Shane Gensel.
Hundley holds, steps up. Hundley sacks T.J. Watt. NFL history. Watt has tied Michael Strahan's single-season record. Oh, no.
In the air to right. This is deep. And he did it again. Jack Sawinski wins it for the Pirates. 3 home runs in a game.
Hey, folks.
You look pretty good.
Happy 2023. We got technological difficulties for numerous reasons, and we'll get that straightened out. Glad you're watching us on Facebook Live. This is another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline, the first show of 2023. So thank you all for watching.
We're still here.
Okay. We're all unanimous on that. We're in the Bethel Park BPTV studios, 5100 Municipal Building, police station on the right, library above, the mayor's offices upstairs, and we're ready to do a show for you. We've done 805 shows. This will be number 806. Won 6 more awards, so I've now won 35 awards in total. With a little asterisk, there's 2 from the Greater Pittsburgh Community Area Awards that I've won there with the Media Awards, so we got that. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to my great Bethel Park volunteer team. We got Corey here. We got Marco. We got the first ever brother and sister team here. Johnny Mariano and his sister, Diane Rohde.
That's enough of that.
She came in and Smoking Jim, if it's not all about the women, he's not Smoking Jim. So thanks for all of you being in here. We got a lot of sports to talk about. A lot of things happen. And if you haven't heard about, Hamlin and dying on the field and being 9 minutes of CPR, we'll talk about that a little bit. We won't ask Smoking Jim because he's like a Roman emperor at the Colosseum. You can just check half of our videos over the years, and he said that players are a piece of meat, just like he was when supposedly he was a great running back at Cal U, and he got hurt his senior year, or you would have saw him in the NFL, so he says. But I'm just saying, we appreciate you watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Appreciate you watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and Greater Pittsburgh area. Thanks to all of you, and thanks for all the Facebook likes. I'll have to check with Nick. I know it's, like 6,900 plus or less. Who knows what goes on.
6920 something.
See, unbelievable. We lost 75 people.
Oh, because they changed the format.
Algorithms.
Meta.
Damn those algorithms. Can we say that on BPTV?
Well, you just did.
I just wondered. And thanks all of you for watching us on Facebook Live. We like it. It's been brought to my attention by Guns and others that my community public access promotions, I'm going to do it very limited, and we'll see how it goes.
7 minutes on this.
And we're going to prove. That's my intro. We got Guns is critical of everything. We won't bring his personal life into this, but something must have happened in the Guns household because he's even more harsh than he normally is. So let's extend this segment.
I was just going to say, you cut on the one end, and now you're talking 10 minutes about nothing, so it all adds up. You still spend more minutes. More sports. They want to hear sports. Tell them.
Okay. Our sponsor, Olive Oils Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. We get that close up by Marco. We can't see anything on the TV. Why is that?
I'm telling him is I could try to expand his, you know what I mean?
We don't know what we have here. All right, we got that. Olive Oils Pizzeria. Then we put up, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. All right, we'll see what this looks like. Here we go. Now that control room's got it. There, we got it centered. Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation honors Joey Fabus, who died at 8 years old from brain cancer, DIPG. Check out their website and their Facebook page. All right, another 501c3. How am I doing on the promos?
You're doing fine, but you got to make up the time you spent on nothing.
I will, because I'm cutting you out and smoking Jim.
That works for me. We're trying to get you to
Oh,
ESPN.
I can be reined in, but it's my show, so you guys are you're reined in, and I'm a dictator on my show. In America, I believe in a republic of democracy.
Tell him.
Always be smiling.
That's your fans will tell you.
Bennett was a handicapped child, had 2 kidney transplants. The parents, Kristen and Dean, they honor him with Always Be Smiling. Check out their Facebook page, and thank you for all the likes. Next up, how we doing, Guns?
You're 11 in.
Yeah, but I only did 2.5 minutes of this so far.
17's your record. I think you might break it.
All right. Great. Marco's on camera. Look at that graphic there. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road. They remodeled a 1905 schoolhouse. Reginald's Coffee is the best coffee in the area. Check it out. All right, let's see what we got next. All right. What's Marco going to do on this one? Bethel Park Community Foundation, 501c3. We got money for you. Everybody but a degenerate gambler like Smoking Jim Frazier.
But he picks winners.
No, he don't pick winners.
Go Wisconsin.
He went to
tonight.
Texas to make sure TCU won.
Yeah, but
They were the only ones.
since you're delaying the show, then he couldn't get a Southwest flight because they canceled 17,000 flights. Then he comes home, and he didn't know you should let the water drip, so his house pipes froze, supposedly. No documentation.
I got news for you. The money he won with TCU, he ain't worried about his pipes.
How do you win a lot of money on $250, gambler? Here's another gambler that makes money. Just ask him what horse he likes in the
I'm a
5th
horse
race. Ask him what horse is winning in the 7th. Wherever, all across America. All right, we got money for you from $100 to $5,000. Go to bpcf.org. Get an application. All right, last one, Guns. Where's Marco on this one? Look at that. He got the automatic focus on it going. I've caught him. Every guy that's been on the camera after the first setup, I'm not supposed to mention it because they're fiddling around to make it look good. I want you for BPTV, like Corey, like Marco, like Marco's mother Diane, like Johnny, like Nick. Come join BPTV, 412-831-3304. Sorry, I was trying to say this is it. Fastest ever on the promos. The first bit of interruption was by my co-host. So we normally would go to What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go to Guns. What's on your mind? Guns. We're not going to do that unless you can keep it under 2 minutes each. That's how I'll catch
So
up.
who is it? Me or which Jim?
Smoking Jim Frazier.
Hey, Al Levine, the talking machine.
2 minutes.
And if you want the green, you got to see Levine.
I threw it easy for you since you were away.
I tell you what, I'm gonna be real quick.
Okay, he's done.
Your last real quick one, 8 minutes. So.
in honor of my good friend Franco Harris, who spoke at my City League Hall of Fame banquet, I just want to you guys to tell me who was the pass for in the Immaculate
Jack
Reception.
Tatum.
It was the Jack Tatum.
So it bounced
What do you
off
say,
of
guys?
him.
What was I didn't hear the question?
Who was the pass intended for an Immaculate Reception?
Frenchie
Oh, it was for
Fuqua.
Fuqua, wasn't it?
Fuqua? You don't know. You wasn't born yet. The pass was actually, Chuck Noll called 66 go, and it was supposed to go to a rookie. And I'm at the game. It was supposed to go.
So he says,
it
no
was supposed
witnesses.
to go to a white rookie wide receiver by the name of Barry Pearson. He wore either 83 or 85. But I guess Bradshaw wasn't too smart in those days. He thought 66 meant 33, so he threw to Frenchie. But Pearson was wide open going down the field for the touchdown.
Well,
He threw it
hey,
to the
Smoking
wrong guy.
Jim, I got to debunk you because you're a Tatum lover. Even though he's on the Raiders, he loves him because how he hits.
Yes.
And he always said that Tatum hit the ball. They showed the replay of Franco, may he rest in peace, that the ball went right off of Tatum. Only an idiot would say that Fuqua touched it because he wasn't close to it.
Fuqua touched it.
Well, there's an idiot for you.
Yeah,
We're moving on. Guns, what's on your mind?
Let's talk about the Steelers, right?
Go ahead.
All right.
That's it.
I'm done.
Your point.
Point is this.
Thanks.
Mike Tomlin is the greatest PR guy there ever was. Here's a guy that, in a city where winning is paramount, he convinced the people of the city of Pittsburgh that if we can be that we don't have that great of a team, but if we beat all the bottom feeders, that makes us pretty good. So now he's at the top of the bottom feeders. People are saying they're going to go to the playoffs. Is that really a good idea for them to go to the playoffs? Because when they get to meet teams like the Chiefs and the Eagles again, we'll see.
Hold it. His standard is the standard, one and done. Can't argue with me there, Guns.
How many playoff appearances in 12 years? Jim?
Three of them.
Other cities wouldn't tolerate that.
Our standard is lower now.
But see, the great thing about him, he has assistant coaches he can throw to the wolves and blame on them. The offensive line, I will say one thing. Their downfield blocking is much better. Their running for the block is much better. However, they still need some improvement on setting up the pocket for the pass. If you notice those great throws that Kenny Pickett had that everyone's talking about, he was running for his life. Those guys.
That hasn't changed.
No.
And Guns, I know you recognize it like I do, that somehow T.J. Watt's now healthy again, and somehow Najee Harris, did you see some of the moves and twists that he made running at full speed? So he's a bust in all the minds that are experts, but I'll take Najee and T.J. right now.
I will say one thing. I love not only the way Najee ran, but the way the guy behind him ran as well. That's
Warren is
serious
great.
black and blue 1960-some Gale Sayers kind of running. Them guys were great. And Najee saved the game. The greatest play of the game was when Pickett didn't make the first time, and Najee picked him up and said, "No, come on over here," and threw him over the
Did you
marker.
see him lift his legs off the ground and push him?
That was fantastic.
And he's only 230.
Exactly.
Najee's like 40 yards away from
Right.
1,000.
Now, if I was Tomlin,
Oh, he'll get it.
if you're going to spend so much money, I would
And
buy.
he's a bust, Smoking.
I would buy myself a left tackle. Look,
Hold it. Open Door Moore is great.
Open Door Moore is a better guard than he is a tackle. Dotson's the weakest on the line. He may be a good guy to bring in, but you got to buy somebody who's a veteran that will anchor that line. Because the problem is Pittsburghers don't want to wait in this development stuff. You got the guys that can play. You need someone to teach them. And as far as the defense goes, 6 defensive linemen, which I thought was very interesting. And still nobody made a tackle
Guns,
from the line.
they're actually listening to our show because of Nick mentioning us on the fan.
Well,
So
yeah,
the
well,
Steeler
Nick's a
coaches
legend.
are listening and watching our show. So we salute you because everybody in Pittsburgh is interconnected.
It was an interesting defensive setup.
Yeah.
And with TJ running. But look, you got to get some tackles, defensive tackles and defensive ends that can get in there because
hold
we don't
it.
have the linebacking crew.
Well, Guns, let me explain. If you haven't watched Guns before, he goes, if you have to play with trick plays offensively and defensively, you need better players.
Exactly.
So I listened to you, even though I cut you short today. I had to with Smoking Jim. He just bit a thumb off. When he ate that hoagie, his right thumb is gone. Don't do a close-up on that, Marco.
I will say one thing. Spillane had the best game he ever played.
How was he in the backfield when he's 2 steps too slow?
That only goes to show you how bad the defensive line is. 6 of them and none of them could get in.
I know.
The linebackers made all the tackles.
Yeah.
Except for Hayward, and he had 4
Hayward was
guys on
making
him.
some downfield,
That rookie
20 yards.
Robinson get hit in the middle.
What about Leal? That Leal guy they brought in, he was around a few tackles and stuff. You missed him because you were worried about your pipes.
Look, you got the highest defensive pay team in the NFL. Get some guys for the line so that these two great running backs can really have a career.
Well, I got to end his thing. I let him double it by 5 minutes, but I'd
earned
rather
it.
be lucky than good. And we know who 007 is. 007 always wins. That's Mike Tomlin. He's lucky, not good. And we got the records to show it, and we got the people there. Ralph, thanks for watching. Jim Ellenbogen, thanks for watching. Amy, thanks for watching. Steve Callis says hi, love the show. Thank you, Steve. Ralph Williams, hello, guys. Not feeling well today. Prayers for you, Ralph. Amy, Happy New Year, guys. Back smoking Jim. Chip, hope you feel better soon. Amy again. Al, Nick, Guns, Smoking Jim, do you have any New Year's resolutions? I'm going to be even better than I was in 2022. Tim Davis, thanks for watching. The rest of you, I'm not asking because you'll start lying. Ralph, Jim, you're right about Moore, and the Steelers have two guys who played good, but Tomlin likes bums, Jesse Davis and Trent Scott. Chief McElroy's watching. And Ralph, last opinion from him right now was the #1 defensive tackle in the draft. Well, thanks for that little tidbit of information. Ralph digs deep in all the drafts. I don't watch the drafts because 90% of the players don't play. I'm confused by it. And look at the ones that we got in the draft. How are they playing? Go ahead.
I noticed Amy said she's asked if I had any New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
I have one to make you better. I can't make you look any better because you already look great, but I'm going to help you be better.
Oh, thank you. I respect
Time
that.
management.
I got nothing but time. For you guys, only an hour. After the show, we'll debate what we did and what I didn't do. And we're going to go to Nick VIP Callis. What's on your mind?
Well, the Steelers still, football is a big deal, and it's kind of crazy. So I'm talking about Monday Night Football more in the VIP segment. But Jim Ellenbogen brought up that point where he was talking about Najee Harris. And it was a play that was so underlooked, and I even went to the Fan on Monday and mentioned that to my guy Adam Crowley, the producer of the morning show, and he was like, man, that's true. We didn't even think of that. Like, that's a great point, too, though, because you take Pickett and you drag him. Now, if Najee doesn't do anything, we don't mention it, but there are little things that you do in a game that could impact in a big way. Little things lead to really big things. What's up?
Congratulations. You went from hating the Steelers to picking out my guy, Najee Harris, who won us the game as per se Guns. So welcome aboard. It's like when...
And he's bringing Adam Crowley to the BPTV.
Nice guy.
No, he's not.
Oh, no, he is Crowley. Oh, did you hear about that?
Yeah,
Crowley's coming on the Ghost Show. He and I made an arrangement. I help him with a broadcast later after my shift. He comes ghost
Shout
hunting
out to Bo, the Ghost Hunter show.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
No,
yeah, so
but you went 180 degrees like when you posted up
I never
a
said I
year
love
ago.
him.
You put up the Steelers when they won their first game. They were going to the Super Bowl. So now I see you're 180 degrees away from last week.
That was a mistake.
I got him. That's why I brought it up. I got him to admit it.
Almost nobody had faith they were going to beat the Bills. Now, remember where they were back then. It's Ben's last year. The Bills are a great team. Josh Allen's great, and they beat them. So that was warranted, kind of.
Great points.
It was also a mistake because then they lost their next 4, I believe. So you give and you take, okay? I don't love the team right now, but here's what I want to talk about.
How do you go from hating a team to now you just don't love them?
No, I hate them. I hate this season.
I just wanted it verified.
No,
Thank
I'm
you,
still
fans, for let me get it out of him.
I'm still in hatred mode.
He's still a hater,
make no
and he's
mistake.
on Pittsburgh Sportsline.
This was a wasted opportunity to start a season terrible and then finish a season terrible. For some reason, they decided to win games. They decided to forge ahead and win a lot of games with a weak offense and a defense that played rather well recently in these recent weeks. But my whole point is, it's like these little things that are coming are giving me a little bit of hope. I still hate the team. I hate the season. This can be a lost season. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I still don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. tough season. But little things like that, watching Najee play out of his mind, and then watching that at the end of the game where Najee's like, you know what, I'm not just going to stand by. I'm here. I'm in this moment. I'm in this play. What can I do? There's no hole here. Pickett can't see the opening on the left, so I'm literally going to force him to go to the left for the first
He
down.
picked him up.
Right. Or how about Najee on that last play where they scored the touchdown? When Najee hit the touchdown pass, he was supposed to stay in the flat, right? But he decided, he's like, I got a lane because they're covering the guys in the back, so I'm going to run straight, get out of the flat. Nobody expected him to run out of the flat. He was just supposed to be a
Guns, look at
dump-off
the
option,
screen.
right?
No.
And he was supposed to be a dump-off option,
yeah.
and instead he ran and he put himself in scoring position and scored. So when you look at
How
those
would
little
a
things,
bust do that? I ask all of you. He was a bust.
I don't think I ever called him a bust specifically. So
You thought he wasn't playing up to first-round caliber. I
but I
was the
also-
only one in Pittsburgh media
I-
that said he's hurt, like they said.
I thought I was on the hurt bandwagon. I didn't say he was a bust.
You just never said he played well.
You're right, because he wasn't playing well. Now he is. So when you play well,
Welcome aboard.
You get mentioned. Matt Canada's the only person I think I bludgeoned on this show, because I still don't like him. But like everybody else, no, Najee was probably hurt. He's not playing great. If Jalen Warren can play better while Najee recovers, good idea. Never said I hated Najee. But watching him now do little things that accumulate to wins is promising. This season is terrible. The Steelers have done bad things by losing early and then winning late. I've already said that. But take a little bit of hope. Take a little bit of find some promising things in this season toward the end that you notice, like little things like that can bring you a little more hope for next season. I'm sure I won't hate the team next season because the 0-0 record is a fresh start, but this season is the worst. That's what's
You
on my
went
mind.
too deep on that. I'm still pondering a 0-0 season. That means you didn't start the season.
Exactly. Fresh slate. But I won't hate them when the slate is fresh. That's my point.
Gun's got a point.
I just
Or a
wanted to say,
counterpoint.
Warren makes Najee better. If they get them a little more help on that offensive line, to us older guys, they remind me of Zonka and Kick, the way
Yeah,
they
I got to
complement
agree
each
that.
other.
Yeah.
And if they get a scat back, you may have one of the greatest backfields ever because those guys run with serious heart. They're really that good, I think.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're running with a line that is just figuring it out. So.
Yeah. No, great point. Mario Tempest, thanks for watching. Chip Hayner from the Get Well Soon bed is watching. So thank you for watching us. We appreciate you. And Amy says she agrees with Nick. Amy, I don't know what points he was actually making because he still hates the Steelers.
Little victories can be good for future.
Glad you could clarify.
Still
it.
hate them this season. I guess that's the point.
Yeah.
I guess that's
Yeah. Welcome on my point that Najee Harris having a steel Herman Munster boot on could not run for 7 games.
Yeah.
TJ Watt, who came back too soon, couldn't play, kept running around, and now with 6 linemen. Guns, did you see who was running around the end on the offensive line all game?
Yeah, TJ.
And they had 6 linemen. All right, I'll do what's on my mind. I already led into it. These guys fed into it, all except for Smoking Jim, because I don't know how he brings up these true facts when for years he loves Tatum. We hate the Oakland Raiders, so how could he have even been at the game? If his dad was a true Steeler fan like he had season tickets, I know he would have brought the belt out and handled Smoking Jim Frazier because he told me how tough his dad was. So that's where I'll just clarify this. Smoking Jim likes to egg me on with things are non-factual, and it works because it's entertaining. We don't have to script anything. He knows exactly what I'm going to say and call him out, and what's he do? He plays Ed McMahon. So we're doing very well. Let me just see if anybody else came back on here. All right, we look like we're good there. And with the Steelers, honestly, this is one of the worst teams that we've seen, except when they were 11-0, and we were called the worst 11-0 team until we won the division and lost the next 5 games. Well, this was the opposite. We had to go 2-6 to turn it around. And guess what? Rozelle started something that all of you forget about. It's called parity.
Yes, sir.
Parity in NFL. Do we have some great teams? Do we have great quarterbacks in the AFC? Yes. But how about when they don't have a good offensive line like the Bengals? What happens? Then they go, what's wrong with Joe Burrow? How about we had Trubisky signed to be quarterback, then they hire Pickett, and they go, he's the savior because he did more than Marino at Pitt. And then what happened? He got benched, Trubisky got in there, and now we got Pickett back, and guess what rookies do? Smoking Jim brought up 10 guys out of 5,000 that were good their first year. And what game are we in? And now Pickett threw 2 touchdown passes to go with his, 9 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. He's already Saint Pickett. How did this happen? The offensive line, I critique them all the time. They did make some blocks. And I still saw a lot of defensive linemen in the backfield with our running backs. But they did something I talked about in the first couple games. Will you please stand in front of a defensive lineman? And the logic is they go around you. So Warren was great at that because he flies up there like a horse at the starting gate that Guns knows. They're called they sprint and they go to the first quarter better than anybody, like I had horses. That's what he does. He's a first quarter horse. Bet your money that he gets to the hole before anybody. Then Najee healed up. He can go left, right, cut, and twist and gain yardage. Do you know why? Because he's getting hit like he was getting hit last year with one of the worst offensive lines. So at least we're traditional that our standard is the standard with offensive linemen. We need them. Our standard on defense. How many of you, and I played football, heard of a 6'5" defense? I heard about it a couple times because we said, Coach, that's all the defensive linemen we have. They go, well, they're playing this week. And guess what? They got a couple new guys, so we could have 6 guys on the line, plus TJ. And it made a difference at times. But Guns brought up a good point. If you have 6 linemen against 5 linemen, from all of you from KO, like Nick and stuff, that means you have 1 more than the 5 linemen there. Theoretically, that means 1 guy should be in the offensive backfield at all times. I didn't see that all the time. So if we're realistic, hey, Steelers are going to the playoffs. I'm done critiquing them because I've been 100% wrong. Tomlin should get Coach of the Year because he hasn't got one yet. He should get it this year because he waved the magic wand and it spelled out L-U-C-K. Let's go to Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking
You're
machine.
welcome.
And I can hear my main man, Johnny, in the back.
What about
Johnny,
his
be
sister?
good. I tell you what, beautiful.
You don't even know her name.
Look at your
Diane,
eyes.
You don't even know her
Diane.
name.
I don't remember her name.
Oh, boy.
Look how good the sun is, Marco. But
Well, he's good on the camera making us look good. Look at how good Smoking Jim looks with the uneaten 2 pieces of hoagie and only uneaten 3.5 pieces of
I
pizza.
got my Penguins. They did good outdoor.
They lost 5 in a row, buddy. So again, he's lying.
But hey, listen, I took a lot of heat on this show.
Yes, you
when
did.
I said, when the Pittsburgh Steelers lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I said, I'm very proud of them because, in my opinion,
You're still taking heat.
in my opinion, Cincinnati Bengals is the best team in football, and they're starting to show that. They already beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they won 7 or 8 in a row. And
Well, which is it?
And I'm the first person in Pittsburgh to say that Canada will be back. Looks like
No, you're
Canada's
not.
going to be back. I was the first to
He
say
said it before.
You said it? That Canada would be back when everybody was
That
trying
or
to
somebody
fire?
on the fan. I didn't think he was going to get fired. I
Okay.
just wanted him to. That's
All right,
Yeah, because
I-
you
I've
know
been
he's
saying that all
he's
year
not
long.
only a TV star at BPTV, He's a rising star, like Smoking Jim called on the Fan 93.7. Stay tuned.
I see
More of Nick VIP Callis.
I criticized the Steelers all year long because I said this was a team that had Super Bowl talent, but they've never developed a quarterback or got a quarterback ready. They played Kenny Pickett way too early, lost a lot of games that they had no business losing, and now it's biting them in the butt because this is a team that is heavily talented, and everybody's starting to see that right now. You're talking about Coach Tomlin should be Coach of the Year, Coach the Fraud of the Year. I tell you what, Tomlin.
Hold it, you're friends with them.
Yeah, we're friends, but I call it like I see it. Number one, the NFL ought to step in because to me, Tomlin is buddy with all the other teams' players. I wish I was a coach in the National Football League and some head coaches high-fiving and hugging my players after the game, stealing my players away. This is free agency. They don't own those players.
Where are they going?
He gets away with a lot
Where are
of
players
things.
going?
He gets away with a lot
Where are they going?
They keep coming to Pittsburgh in the offseason. Tomlin's friends, buddy with those guys, man.
You were
James
missed last
Bond.
week, weren't you?
yeah. So,
He missed everything.
So
It
that's the fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. I'm very proud of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They beat a real good Ravens team on the road. Kenny Pickett is getting better as we go. Freiermuth is a beast. And Najee is starting to speak
Hold
well.
it. Chief
the
just brought
media.
up Smoking Jim. Wish they would throw Najee the ball. Was great in
Yes.
college catching the ball.
Yes.
Don't waste his talent.
That's what he should be catching 100
Chief,
passes
you're
a
on
year.
fire.
He should be catching 100 passes a year. And
How
the
many
two-
did they throw him
And
this
two
year?
things. One, and I'll let Guns go after this. We got 2 guns if you count Nick.
No, we got 4 actually.
4 guns.
Gateway.
But
They got 2 guns each.
two
Nick's a
things.
beast.
2 things that won Kenny Pickett over with me. Now I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback. Number one, when he outran Najee Harris in the one game to make a block, and Johnson missed his block. That's the guy that tackled Najee, or he'd have had a touchdown. Here's the second thing, and nobody talks about it. I bet you I'm the first one that'll say this.
All right, let's see.
I'm the first one to say
Let's
this.
see.
Drum roll.
When the Georgia idiot started pouting around, George Pickens.
You love him.
I love his talent. I said he ran the worst routes in the history of the National Football League, and I've been proven right.
But how's his hands?
When he got great hands. He's Chris Carter and Larry Fitzgerald hands. Don't forget, when he was running around, yelling at all the coaches, cussing at everybody on TV, and wanting the football, Kenny Pickett still didn't throw him the ball. That's leadership. He's going to throw to the guy that's open.
I got to
He
put a
didn't-
disclaimer.
He didn't fall into George Pickens pouting and screaming and cussing. He didn't throw him the football.
Kenny
I loved
Pickett
it.
hasn't-
You won me over there.
No, Kenny Pickett hasn't adjusted to the wide receivers in a full field. He has tunnel vision for half the field. So
Let
he,
me tell
he
you
didn't
something
see.
before we go to guns. Let me tell you something.
He only sees half the field.
Here's something you guys
Show me
don't
I'm
know.
wrong.
Let me just say this.
Show me where I'm wrong.
When Warren Moon went to Minnesota,
How you bringing up history
I'm just
like
saying
this?
this real quick. When Warren Moon went to Minnesota, that's a black quarterback. He went to Minnesota.
How do you know?
Chris Carter one time in preseason game. Chris Carter's flapping his arms like I'm open. Warren Moon pulled him to the side. If you show me up again, I'll bury you in this offense. And for the next 2 seasons, he set an NFL record, 247 catches, and never tried to show up Moon. And that's what Kenny Pickett did to George Pickens, and I love it. He's a baby Warren Moon. He's a light-skinned Warren Moon.
He's actually a white guy,
You know he went
and
to
the other
same
guy's
high
a
school
black
as
guy.
Bill Villapiano.
No, I didn't know
In
that.
New Jersey?
But what's funny about you, Pickett never talked to Pickens.
He didn't. He said.
No,
He said it in sign language. I ain't throwing you the ball.
He doesn't know sign language. He didn't
He
take
didn't throw
that
him the
course
ball,
at
did he?
Pitt.
He didn't throw him the ball.
Here's the most.
I loved it.
Here's the most important question. Do you know sign language?
I do know a little bit.
Tell me good night. Oh, thumbs up. Yeah.
Hey, machine.
I bet you don't know what letter that is. Yeah, there you go.
I know that.
Not
brother.
shocked. Not
That's
shocked.
what's on my mind. Let's go to guns.
That's fiction and fact. All right, 10 seconds. We're going to go to guns.
Got ginger ale here.
Look at that.
That's from the IP. Did that.
You're alive, sir.
That's
Yeah.
a tough act to follow.
All right, next. We're saving more time. Go ahead. Let it loose. You got time.
I just want to expand on what Jim said.
You got time.
Kenny is not where he needs to be one of the elite quarterbacks. Let's face it. You know, 100 and some yards a game, that's not going to get it. No touchdowns. That's not Mahomes. That's not the kid from Buffalo. But there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think the kid can improve a lot. But he did show me something, like he showed Jim, that he's showing leadership quality. There's something about this kid that people will follow him. He's comfortable, and I think he could be a leader. So if he can improve his stats and stuff, his mechanics, because he's learning,
And his vision.
right, his management is much better. But if he can improve his mechanics a little bit, he could be a great quarterback because he does have the leadership quality. So let me change the subject a little bit.
Okay.
The gentleman that sat in Jim's seat last week was discussing a little bit of hockey with me, and I told him anything can happen. And he was saying, no, they're going to make the playoffs. Well, if he's watching, they've lost 6 in a row.
His name's Steve.
Right. Steve, they lost 6 out of 7, and Jari's hurt. So anything can happen.
Great
They're-
point, Guns.
The Penguins, first of all, they're overtime. Why they do not start Crosby is absolutely amazing. It's stupid.
That's what I
Their
said.
third line, just to give you an idea, in the last game they played, the third line had 1 attempted shot. Wow. And the defense had
Even
9.
Smoking Jim knows that's bad.
Right, and the defense had 9. That being said, because I'm trying to go around the world for
No, go ahead.
2022.
Yeah.
College football and the championship. I listened to the Talking Heads for a whole week bash TCU.
Yes, sir.
Jim was the only one that believed in TCU, flew down to Texas. I think he gave him some tips, and the great Michigan got spanked. They deserve all the credit in the world. Can they beat Georgia? I don't think so, but they've earned my respect, that team, because nobody thought they would even be there. So,
Great point on that side of the table. The Jims stick together.
yes, we do.
I just have one question about Harbaugh being a great coach.
Yes, he is.
He is a great coach.
Well, how do you do those 4th downs that cost you a game?
Well,
I mean,
Harbaugh
that
believes
takes away from your team.
He thinks like me, and being that you had horses, you can't win with scared money.
Whoa, I respect that.
You know,
That's why he don't win.
right? And the
I
proof
got
of it is.
Wisconsin tonight.
But here's the thing: would you rather take a shot and win like Harbaugh can do, or do you want to do like Tomlin and just we made it to the playoffs, then we lost, made it to the playoffs, then we lost? It's mediocrity. It's just
yeah,
he
but-
puts he's better than Jim Jones. He give Kool-Aid to the greater Pittsburgh area.
You have to
and they all
explain.
drink it, and everybody says, "Ooh,
You have to explain about Jim Jones,
maybe another time."
what he
Another
did.
time.
That's a little bit of history there going back. Just look up Jim Jones.
But
And they all died, so their
Right.
Kool-Aid killed them.
And like
That's
I said
the joke.
before, I don't call him James Bond for nothing. He's got great luck, in being able to turn the season around like this for himself.
Yeah,
And he has the whole city convinced, wow, this is a successful season.
again.
By convincing them that the mediocrity and down is a victory. But it's not.
Yeah.
I just remember what the Eagles did to them
Yes.
in Buffalo.
Batman!
So, enough said. So I'm sticking to my guns.
Thank you, Guns. And as you found out, the standard is the standard, and the rubber must hit the road, and the next player steps up. We don't see that with 6 linemen. You called for it. They listened. I didn't see an improvement there.
The only improvement was it gave the linebackers, because there were 6 of them, they were able to hold them up and gum them up. enough for all the linebackers to make the tackles. Made the linebackers look great.
Yes, sir.
Even imagine they made Spillane look like
That's my guy.
like Willie Lanier.
Hey, Guns, maybe one of your
That's
guys
one from
signed
the
in,
past.
John Donatelli.
That's Dr. John Donatelli.
All right, Doctor, if they get an O-line, all those players Jens talked about will be stars. But I'm still pissed they passed on Linderbaum from Iowa, who's playing like a beast for the Ravens. Ravens, Doctor, you're correct.
Dr. Donatelli is a very smart man.
You can do a guest appearance anytime for 5 minutes with the gun. So thank you for your feedback and thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Gun's bringing a couple other people on board, so we appreciate that. Next, we're going to go with the VIP, Nick Callis.
All right, today is kind of rough. DeMar Hamlin got hurt on Monday Night Football in a way that has him in the hospital right now, and it makes me kind of sad to think about. A lot of things were going through my head last night. My mom's a nurse, and she was the one that kind of alerted me, like, you know, when you perform CPR, that's like bad because, you know, the person.
It means they died.
Exactly. Yep.
See, I know that.
I got it right on the nose. So it means that their heart stopped and they have to, and they're breathing, not breathing. So yeah, they're pretty much dead, and that doesn't really happen. And then there's a whole lot of speculation going on with the league. Like, do we play the game? Do we not play the game? I really believe they were just trying to cover their behinds whenever they were talking about, no, we never had any intention on continuing this game. We'll let the coaches decide. No, of course you didn't. You really thought, no, it is. We've had ambulances on the field before, haven't we? But not like this. So I just want to say that if the NFL was really contemplating that, continuing this game, it's just kind of makes you want to think a little bit. Like, what are we all doing as people, as we are fans of sports and we consume all of these competitions for our entertainment? We watch that at the very perfect second, or imperfect second, the impact went to his chest and causes Hamlin's heart to stop. And that's
Yeah, but I have a question just to clarify it. I watched that video about 20 times. I didn't see anything unusual about the tackle.
No, nothing about.
And that's what I wanted to point out.
But that's
that
why I call it
people,
perfect. That's why I call it perfect. Because
yeah, but that's what I wanted to bring up. When we all played football and we hit sleds and everything, you don't realize how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
When you're putting your shoulders into something, or if you put your head into something.
No, that's my
like
point.
Smoking Jim's CTE King because of his head.
But what people don't, and I'll let Nick go from here. What people didn't see what caused it, I'm the only one in the world that's seen it.
Well, you see stuff with those great eyes.
When Mixon went to help up the receiver, he elbowed Hamlin in the heart.
No, he didn't.
Yes, I'm telling you.
I watched it 100 times.
Nobody's seen it but me.
You know, yeah,
All right,
that's
all right, hold on,
because it
stop.
wasn't true.
Stop. That's part of the fiction in the book.
No, I'm telling you, it's true.
I saw it
Hold on,
twice.
hold
study
on.
film.
No conspiracy theories during this segment. We'll save those for not now. Do you have a conspiracy theory?
No, I just
He
has some
I
facts.
just wanted to make a point if I could.
Sure.
It's a more gentler ownership. It's a more gentler. In 2007, in an exhibition game, was it 2007? Mm-hmm. Jack Tatum hit Darryl Stingley so hard that it actually killed Darryl Stingley later.
It paralyzed
Oh wait,
him.
that actually.
And then he died from it. And then they played the game.
Don't jump too far. Don't jump too far, because that's kind of my point talking about
No,
football and sports.
if I could, I just wanted to say one more thing.
It is your segment that he understands.
No, I just that don't bother me.
No, Guns, it wasn't meant to
No,
be.
I just want to say one thing because this is relevant.
You're welcome.
How much everything's changed. When I went to the doctor and they X-rayed my neck, you know what the doctor said to me? Oh, another corner from the Spearing generation. Everything is taught different today too. Yeah. They used to tell us, use the front of your head and bury him.
Yeah.
That's why Smoking Jim
I'm
is
sorry, I didn't
Smoking
mean to interrupt
Jim.
you, but I just wanted to make that point.
Well, that kind of
Great point. Thank you.
that-
Nick, carry on.
That kind of goes to my point as well. 'Cause, you know, we consume sports.
You helped him.
We enjoy watching competition, and yet we understand that football is a game of a lot of violence. Baseball has its own violent moments that are less frequent, and they happen, but there are plays that can happen that can hurt bodies, not necessarily kill as often, but but you get what I mean. And hockey the same way, there's some contact and they're not as frequent, but football's the king because there's so much contact that happens at so many times that players are so susceptible to these kind of injuries. And now where you have players who, before, not that the athletes are before, I always talk about before and now, they were talented athletes before, they were strong, they were the best of their time, and there are many of them that could play in today's game. Totally understand that. But when you have all of the bodybuilding and everybody working, that much harder to train and to precisely work their bodies like this, I mean, you've got right now the best possible athletic builds ever playing against each other, and this kind of stuff was bound to happen. We've already seen deaths happen. We've already seen the CTE stuff that's happened before, and this felt like it was just going to happen at some point. And now I'm going to talk about it. I didn't always want to be the downer about the NFL because I do enjoy watching football. I do enjoy the nature of the sport.
Are you still in the hate syndrome?
I don't hate the NFL.
I'm just checking because I'm worried about you, young puppy. He just turned 24, and I think the transition from 23 to 24,
He growed up.
something happened.
Yeah, but this is one of those things. It's just
Guns.
It
You're
doesn't
on
happen, and
fire.
it brings you down. We're talking about it all day at the Fan, and it's just kind of a downer because you're just thinking about it like this was bound to happen. And now it is, so what do we do? And I remember Ryan Clark talking last night. I remember one of the things
He was
said,
great.
He can't die. It was one of the things that he said, and I'm like, I'm feeling the same way. He can't. This is just one of those things where they're playing a game. It's a kid's game, essentially. Played by adults,
can't die.
strategized by adults. But for all the other players that have passed away after the symptoms that they've had as a result of football, all the people who've struggled with concussions and mental illness based on Smoking Jim may be one of them, but Smoking Jim's still
Oh,
alive.
yeah.
Smoking Jim's
That
one of the
too.
Smoking Jim's one of the luckiest people I know. Survived a quadruple bypass.
There, he was
still
on-
eats Kentucky Fried Chicken. Smoking Jim's an anomaly. We pray for him. But in all seriousness,
Check
with
his
this stuff,
veins.
when we think about all these things, it's like
Check his veins.
when we think about all these things as they
All that
happen.
chicken, it's good for what ails you.
When we think about all these things as they happen, and then we wonder and we talk about it, it's like, well, the NFL was legitimately considering, the owners and the league was legitimately considering. No, this game can still continue, can it? This is one of those things that happens. But you just had the feeling. CPR was given. This is not one of those things that always happen. This was a rough situation. This was a sensitive situation. This was a dire life and death situation that now we really got to reflect as fans, because as fans we dictate pretty much what the league can do, because without revenue, without our money, they don't have the power. So just think about that. I'm appreciative, and I love that all these people are out there on social media supporting this guy, and I love that people were calling for the game not to go on. That's good to see. What can we do now? I don't know if there's one specific answer, but just always keep this moment in the back of your mind, as you have experienced it, because this wasn't normal. This shouldn't be normalized, and it never should have been like this. Safety is important. You just got to start taking little steps at a time, kind of like Najee Harris, taking Pickett from the big pile to the space. Little things will make it better. We should never, in a sport designed for kids, strategized and played by adults, we should never have life and death consequences. That's the opinion.
I got to counter some of it. I watch ESPN, not totally, but my generation and before would disagree 100% with what you're saying.
Why do you say that?
There's on PTI today, I watched before the show started, and Wilbon said in August of 1971, there was a hit that killed a guy named Oots or something, and they didn't stop the exhibition game. They played the NFL, completed the game after a guy died and was killed in 1971.
That story's confirmed, or that story was
What
told?
was the one from Loyola Mall?
What do you mean? That was a confirmed story? Who told you the story?
Wilbon
Oh,
He
okay.
did play
on
that.
ESPN.
Sorry.
He did play that.
Yeah, you're having a bad day, so
I
I'm
am
trying
having
to
a bad
help you out.
I hear you.
That on ESPN, Wilbon said in August of 1971 during a Chicago Bears
Yeah, Detroit
exhibition game with Detroit, there was a player killed during the game. And my generation and Gunn's generation and Smoking Jim, he's from 20 to 80, so we don't know what generation he's from. they would have said play the game.
Yeah.
We were always brought up, get in there, you're not hurt.
Is that a good thing, though?
Well, wait, I'm telling you, we have Hall of Famers that they wouldn't give them water,
Yeah.
and they had to play,
Is that a good
and they're
thing?
Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Go into the Hall of Fame at Canton. Now, did most of them die younger? Yes. Did most of them have arthritis and CTE and they were punch drunk like boxers? Yes.
They wouldn't have traded it for a minute.
And
That some of them have, though. I've
Well,
seen counts.
that's
Some of
like-
them don't let their children play football, I've heard, because they understand the sacrifices.
well, we're
it
not
makes.
going to do on location. We'll do a little bit debate.
Well, it's like Jim said. Hank Gathers died on the court, and they played the game.
That's what
And it's happened.
He died.
Hold it. Any of you racing fans, car racing fans?
I've watched it a little
I
bit.
love it. I love it.
You know why he loves it?
Why is that smoking?
A lot of drivers die.
Well, that's
Look at
well,
Dale Earnhardt Sr. and many others, and what do? They get the car and the guy out of there, take him to the hospital, bury him, and they continue the races. Basketball games, it's happened.
Yeah.
Look at even in hockey.
But my whole point is it's change is what I'm looking for. That's the opinion.
No,
That
here,
should have never happened. I understand that it happened. I understand that we view toughness as forging through some of that stuff, and your life might be the price. I'm saying should have never been that way.
Yeah, but Guns
shouldn't
will-
be that way.
Guns will bring up a point and a counterpoint to that because I will too, but he'll go first.
Let me say this. I think the American people have to make a decision here. On the one hand, you got guys like Mike Ditka saying and put a skirt on him. And on the other hand, this is a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, we don't even know until the doctors say whether this hit had anything to do with his heart situation.
nothing
He
to
may
do
have had a situation just like Hank Gathers did.
Yeah.
You
Or
see what
like
I'm saying?
Smoking Jim had a quadruple bypass, not because he eats a bucket of chicken and then never cooks a meal at home, but he had a quadruple bypass a few years ago and he hasn't changed his ways.
You know
so
what?
it's genetic.
You know what? I'll say it. You know, we talk about that. You know, steel's a business, and I remember before when they would have kids work in factories, kids were dying, and that's just the nature of the business.
Hold it.
I mean, things
Wait,
changed.
here's the
Child
thing.
labor laws
There-
were a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like people made change based off of very bad circumstances.
Yeah, but here's the question. Do you know how much money was bet that night?
$500 million.
You know, it's like the national pass. People want
Gambling
to see it.
is in.
So what do they do? Somewhere in there, maybe they need to adjust it. I don't know. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying they're going to have to make a decision because this is a $1 billion, and it's getting bigger because they're playing in Mexico, they're playing in England. This is going to
Germany.
be a worldwide thing. So,
Guns, who else sponsors the NFL? FanDuel and all these gambling things.
but that's my point.
Look at they get billions of dollars of revenue for a nonprofit.
Hey, they killed. Go through Homestead, Munhall, and that whole valley. There's cemeteries filled with guys that died in those steel mills,
And
and they're
since-
still making steel.
Since you brought it up,
But
Carnegie,
they
Car-
made
Carnegie
regulation.
became the
yeah,
richest
they were
man
regulating. They
in
put on
America.
acid, we're no good 20 years
With a
later.
little steel history,
They all
Carnegie
died.
became the richest man in the country because of that process with child labor. And you know what he did? He worked guys 7 days a week, 12 to 18 hours. And then he had a guy named Frick in 1892 that brought Pinkertons in and killed union workers. And it's from 1892 in Homestead. That's
They
why
were-
they
they
put
were
labor
hired
laws.
guns.
And everybody nowadays, you said it changed.
But they called
You're
themselves
right, it
private
got
police.
worse.
They were
People
Andrew
don't
Carnegie's
believe in
private
unions
steel police,
now.
they called
But
them.
that's not the union's fault.
They gunned down a whole.
It's the
all
management and
buried
the
at the top
owners'
of
faults
Homestead in that
because they
cemetery
don't
up
have
there.
unions because technology got rid of workers and they'd rather pay you as cheap as they can.
Them guys
so
are all
your
buried.
mentality with we got to change the sport. How do you
Don't
change?
change-
How do you change billions of dollars of people's actions, hence gambling, and owners with money? And why are these guys all the white guys and old guys that own the teams? How do you change that? Like the younger generation now, we all don't want people to get hurt. We want everybody to get along, but there's so much hate.
Well-
So how do you get rid of the hate between
What
people?
I'm saying is, in influencing people, to just tell you guys out there, like, think about this stuff. Think about how you spend your money. Think about how you let the NFL influence you. That's the message. Now, we can giggle over there, and that's okay. I'm not worried about that. If you want to snicker and say nothing can ever change, nothing's good, that's fine. It'll all stay the same. You're right.
Hey,
the
and
message,
wait a minute. Since you want to make a comment like that, I'll take you on with it.
Hold on.
Wait, in 1 million BC, they had the Colosseum and they killed each other. So we've come a long way for that. It's human nature. People want to see the gladiators, and that's the way it is.
All I'm saying to you is that
right?
you have more power as an individual consuming sports than you might believe. That's all I'm saying. You can influence this because it's your money that goes into their pockets when you spend on tickets, when you spend on jerseys, when you spend on food at the stadium. That all goes into their pockets. That's all I'm saying. If you really think that this is the nature of the game and the nature of the sport is dangerous and these players signed up for this when they signed their millions of dollars in contracts, you're allowed to think that. I'm just saying you have more power than you think. Think about this moment as you move forward spectating football. That's it.
Good points. Somebody named Maureen Callis, your mother, said she likes to be quiet, but we are talking about respecting human life. Yes, we are. And she says we take out the human respect, we lose, and that's part of the problem. The money and the gambling has taken over the respect of humans. And then look at how our country's been in the last 20 years with how people don't get along and hate each other. And I mean straight up. So you're telling them to think a little bit. They've already factored that in, and they bought into gambling.
But nobody's really seen it.
No, it doesn't matter whether they saw it. It's a bump on the road because they don't really care.
Hey, Al.
You care.
How many guys between 1930 and now died that no one ever talked about? The game,
Millions.
out of 10 million hits
So we should never
one
talk
guy.
about it ever.
You're talking about one
No, you
guy,
can talk
and he didn't
about
die.
it. You can talk
look,
about
I'm not
it, but
trying
how
to
do you
be
get
insensitive.
change?
I'm
And-
just saying, everybody's saying that this is the one, this is the George Floyd of football. This is the one thing that is going to change the whole game.
sure.
I can name you guys that are walking around and are freaking half dead for the hits they took in the 60s.
Keep it up. Tell me them all. You know why? Because that supports my point.
Your point is not going to change people in general. That's the problem that you have.
Then maybe not. But I
No,
have the
I'll
I have the
just-
voice and the
Game would be in
platform to
Mexico
speak.
and England.
You
And I'm doing it.
You remind me of my dad being naive.
That's okay.
We have hardened people that would argue till they die against doing what you want them to do.
But I still have
the
the
only
voice and
thing.
the-
The only thing that'll change is people young. I know the clock, Johnny. It's 30 seconds.
What about the violence in baseball between Chip and him arguing?
Good point. Well, look at the murders and things going on in our country. We know you shouldn't be killing people with guns, yet we have more guns than people. So what you're talking about is a great point, but it will only change when we die. So thank you for watching the show. We got a little deep here. If anybody's bothered, stay tuned for next week for even more. And stay Joey strong.